All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Super Bowl Sunday is here, but first, let's talk some basketball. We got a 3-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so what I'm actually rolling with myself. Absolutely free down in the pinned comment. I will say, like I mentioned, it's Super Bowl Sunday. I don't think that we'll be, deploying major units in the NBA today. We're saving those for the big game tonight. So, yeah, we'll be a little bit conservative, and honestly, it's probably the smart move. We got some early games. We only have 3 games. Probably the smart move to be a little bit safer today. But let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of how we came out yesterday, at 1-in-1 night, we were traveling, so we only did 2 quarter unit plays. Kyrie's over points plus assists. I still like the read. Clearly wasn't the right one, right? It's like I was reading the book in a different language. No, buddy, you're supposed to go left to right. I was reading right to left because, honestly, he was off to a massively slow start. Franz Wagner, though, we were reading the exact language, and we were reading like 100 words a minute. We crushed that one. So you know what? I'm going to take that momentum and apply it today. I'm going to forget about the Kyrie one again. Just 2 core unit plays. Nothing's going to, just a little drop in the ocean. But I'm going to take that Franz Wagner momentum there. Unfortunately, our ride of the day does not come through. Got to drop the womp womp on one of the OGs in the comments here, Parlay Guru. Jeremy Sohan over 8.5 points. He had, I believe it was 7 points in like 18 minutes. So unfortunately, this one does not come through for him. I don't know if we'll jump. Honestly, I should say that he was on a streak and it's a plus money play. So there's a lot of credit to be given to Parlay Guru. You had a good ride of the day run. So this isn't really like a negative one. There's a pretty good run there and a plus money play. Just didn't work out, right? But what I will say is get those hashtag ride of the days down in the comments because it is the Super Bowl day. We have a really, really busy day here at Guy Boston Sports. And I particularly do. So we'll try to ride with someone, but if we don't, we'll just save it for Monday. But still, those ride of the days are worth commenting because it helps other people out in the comments. So yeah, get those hashtag ride of the days down in the comments. Just no promises on if we are able to, tweet it out and jump on board with someone. If we do, we will. If we don't, we'll just save it for Monday and pick someone new then. So yeah, still, those comments are really, really valuable to a ton of people reading the comments. So go ahead and get those hashtag right of the days or ROTD down in the comments. Last thing before we do jump into these games, I said it was Super Bowl Sunday. I've probably said it a million times already in this video, probably say it a bunch more. We have our video live on the channel. We have Trey's video live. We have my video, which you're seeing on your screen right now, and Tasso's dropped his video as well. So all 3 of us giving our take on the Super Bowl independently. Go ahead and check it out. My video is pinned to the Guy Boston Sports page on YouTube if you want to find it easily. I'll put that in the pinned comment as well under the plays so you guys can find that video pretty easily as well. But what do you say we go ahead and dive into this slate here? Like I said, only 3 games. A little bit of a weird slate, but let's start it off here. We're looking at Detroit taking on Charlotte. The first thing I want to talk about here is more like NBA news. If you haven't heard, that Mark Williams trade to the Lakers got canceled because he didn't pass his physical and they failed him. So yeah, Mark Williams heading back to Charlotte, knowing this damn team just traded him. I couldn't even imagine being in that situation. But let's talk about this game here. So Detroit's been very, I would say, inconsistent. It's weird. You pick certain sample sizes, they look very good or very bad. You pick larger sample sizes, they kind of look inconsistent. I'm going to say they're an inconsistent team as of right now. Cade Cunningham's listed as probable. If he doesn't play, obviously throw anything that I'm saying, or at least take it with a grain of salt. So they were coming off of a win against Philly. All right, I give them credit for that one. They were, dogs in that one, and they still ended up pulling out the dub. Charlotte coming off of a win a couple nights back against San Antonio. LaMelo coming back, that's obviously good, and LaMelo is listed as good to go today. The one thing that I'll say about this one, and I think it makes me lean towards an under right off the bat, is the fact that Detroit likes to score in the paint. Well, you know what? Charlotte, surprisingly, not the best defense, actually not all that terrible at stopping points in the paint. Charlotte's actually starting to score more in the paint now in terms, or at least try to score in the paint in terms of being an offensive team. And that makes a little bit of sense. Some of this data may be skewed because they didn't have LaMelo who's going to shoot 42 threes off 1 foot per game. You know what I mean? So yeah, but they're starting to lean, at least data-wise, towards scoring in the paint. Detroit is a very good paint defense. So I think I immediately say 225, maybe a little bit high, especially on like a wonky Super Bowl Sunday early game. This is a 1 p.m. Eastern start, you know what I mean? So I'm going to lean towards the under 225. It's probably the only thing I ultimately could possibly get to actually rolling with, if I'm being completely honest. In terms of a spread, I would lean Charlotte because of what I just said. I think this could be a weird game. In a weird game, you take the 10 points, right? Like, this Detroit team is inconsistent. Do I think they win? Sure. We have this one pegged at a 117 to 110 game. So, yeah, Detroit winning by 7 points, but Charlotte's still covering the number, right? So, obviously, we can't always trust our models because there's more data and more information to add into that the numbers don't really look at. So, that's why we're still leaning towards under. But I think that this is probably like a 7-8 point game. So give me Charlotte plus the 10. But I think I'd prefer the under, if anything, in this spot. Now, I did mention how Charlotte obviously has had some struggles and whatnot when you look at it from defending the 3-point line. Earlier in the year, they were not the worst perimeter defense. Now they are on the road this year, dead last. And then in the last 3 games, 5th worst. So when we're looking at player props here, I'm thinking another spot to take a peek at could be Tim Hardaway. Cashed him last time we took him. He's going to shoot a bunch of those above the break threes. So I like Tim Hardaway Jr. for his threes. But again, we don't want to force anything today. And honestly, his threes, I think, is bumped up to 2.5. So yeah, it's a little bit risky there because we took him for 1.5 threes last time he played, right? And I even said in the video, I was like, it's pretty juice. It's probably the last time we'll get it at 1.5. That's true. He had 6 points. He made 2 threes. That was it. You know what I mean? So I do like it, but 2.5, I still think he can go out there and hit 2.5. I'm not saying that. But you know, he hasn't been crushing that line lately, but you're getting plus 155 odds against a bad perimeter defense. Could be something to think about. All right, guys, before we get to the other 2 games here, we're just talking about player props. Why not talk about an amazing deal going on in the Sleeper Picks app right now? That's a lot of action, huh? You got a Patrick Mahomes discounted square. You have a Jalen Hurts discounted square. A.J. Brown discounted square, as well as Xavier Worthy discounted square. And that's not all. That's not all. You'll also get a play $5, get $55 deal right now as a new customer. Go ahead and check it out. All those discounts for existing customers are available as well. But you're going to get that play 5, get 55 deal for new customers. And all of these games are the big game tonight. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this will help us out having some additional action on the game. So check out Sleeper, guys. That link will be down below in the pinned comment, as well as the description. If you have not tried it yet, it's really, really cool. You take players, you say more or less over, under on their set projections. You put them into an entry, the more you win, the more you get paid out. And Sleeper is really cool because their payouts change based on the plays you throw in there. They don't follow the fixed payout structure of, 2 for 2 is 3x or anything like that. No, each and every play you throw in there changes the multiplier of the payout. Really, really cool. They have tons of alternate lines. Go ahead and check it out, guys. That link will be down below in the pinned comment as well as the description. Even with all these discounts, I still think the best deal is that play 5, get 55. Like, you 11x your money immediately. So go ahead and check it out. That link will be down below. Let's jump back into these games. 2 more. Bucks taking on the Sixers here. In this one, you do have some injuries to note. Giannis already listed as out. You have Porter listed as a questionable or game time decision. Pat Connaughton questionable. On the other side of things, Yabusele says probable, but Embiid listed as questionable. So obviously this game changes, and honestly, just overall, the vibe of the game changes. No Giannis, potentially no Embiid. Kind of a weird one here. I don't think this Philadelphia team is... Well, let's see how I should phrase this. I don't think this Philadelphia team is as bad as they've been playing. They've shown some life. They were a little hot for, a week ago, right? I don't think they're as bad as they've been playing, but I really don't think, Embiid being in the lineup or anything like that is just drawing any sort of consistency out of them. This team seemed like they started to hit a little bit of a stride when Maxey started to go off, and it was the Maxey show. And obviously you still, have had Paul George in and out. He's back now. So it's a little bit weird to trust Philadelphia, but can we fully trust Milwaukee without Giannis? I would say not necessarily, but in terms of if I were to weigh those, the distrust of Philadelphia is a little bit heavier than that distrust of Milwaukee without Giannis. We still have Dame, right? We still have Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis Jr., Prince. They still have some continuity in that lineup. So I think Bucks at home today, probably a decent spot to look at. This Philly team has just struggled defensively. When you look at it, this Bucks team loves to run isolation, and Damian Lillard are going to be one of the biggest, guys that like to run isolation, not stature-wise, but in terms of volume, and he should be able to cook this Philadelphia team isolation-wise. They don't really run the pick and roll, but Philly not all that great at defending the pick and roll. The one thing, and if you like Philly today plus the points, you are going to be looking at that pick and roll saying, the Bucks defense against the pick and roll is pretty damn trash, like realistically trash. Third worst score percentage, second worst effective field goal percentage, and Philly top 10 in score percentage, in top half league, 15th in terms of effective field goal percentage off the pick and roll, and they run it the 10th most. So that's definitely an angle. I just don't think it's going to be enough. You know what I mean? You have Damian Lillard isolating all game long. I think that he's going to kind of control the vibe of this game. So yeah, and plus he's going to be able to hit those threes, which Philadelphia, again, has been a decent perimeter at times, not so much as of late. Last 10 games here, allowing nearly a 40% field goal percentage from above the break threes to their opposition. So I'm going to go Bucks here minus the 2 points. Honestly, there is a chance that it's a final play because I do kind of believe, like I said, in Damian Lillard controlling this one, but it might be a Bucks team total over for me. Look here. I think we're kind of getting a discount in a sense because no Giannis, right? Like Dame, if you take him player prop wise, that's an angle that I was considering. His lines are like absolutely crazy because obviously I'm not the first person to realize that he can isolate against them, and you know they shouldn't really be able to stop him on the perimeter. So obviously that's going to be a tough one. But if we do look at a team total as of right now, the total sitting at 227.5. I've seen some 228, so keep that in mind. But a Bucks team total right now, let's see, yeah, over 112.5 is not something that I'm hating. Head to head, the Bucks have hit that in 5 straight games. When they've hit it at home here, they've hit in 3 straight, averaging 118.5. So yeah, I really don't mind that. One of those home games being this season, but this year in terms of them playing against Philly, they've gone 124 and 123. And this Philly defense hasn't been all that tremendous, right? 125 to Detroit recently, Miami 108, but Miami's a very slow team. 116 to Dallas, 118 to Boston, 137 to Denver. So that could be a look. Bucks team total over, but I'll go Bucks minus the 2. Bucks team total over. Player prop wise, I would say I'd consider some Damian Lillard looks, but honestly, the way that I probably end up looking at it is potentially Brook Lopez, because I think that Damian Lillard's lines are so high. Brook Lopez, at the least, you're getting at 14.5, still very, very high, but he may be able to pick and pop, hit some threes, may be able to, roll off those screens and get the benefit of Damian Lillard in the either when he's isolating for the threes or the pick and roll to kind of get to the hoop. So yeah, it's kind of a pivot. I'd probably say Bucks team total being my favorite look in this one, but nonetheless, I would, if you had to go player prop, I think I'd look at Brook. Houston taking on Toronto. So this one is kind of interesting. I do think Houston wins this game. I think that they're the better team. I don't think that should be, dropping any jaws for anybody, right? But there is a level of Fred VanVleet. If Fred VanVleet, if he is still out, that's definitely a big knock to them. Amen Thompson's done a decent job kind of curating the offense, but overall, VanVleet has shown how important he is to this team, right? Like, they lose to Memphis. He played in that game, and though he's been banged up and questionable and whatever, like, he's not been playing, and they've been losing. They've not won a game since then, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's tough. He came back. What game did he come back in? Who do they play? They played one of the Nets games. He came back from injury, gets hurt, and then or got hurt in that Memphis game. Plays against Brooklyn, was it? Got hurt, and obviously has been hobbled since. If I have that, whatever. Fred VanVleet's out. I don't know why I'm going through this trying to determine the exact minute and time of his mother's birthday and when he got hurt. I think that that's a big detriment to this team. But I also think Toronto is kind of past their little hot streak. Like, this is a Toronto team that just got smoked by OKC. They got smoked by Memphis. They did play the Knicks well, but that was during their little hot streak. So now you're coming into Houston here at home. I don't think that this is the most ideal spot for Toronto, especially when you look at it the way they like to score. They like to score in the paint. We know that, right? Well, this Houston team is a decent paint defense. Have they been as good as they've been, earlier on in the year and whatnot? No, they've definitely had their struggles, but still very sound defense, right? In terms of being at home this year, 6th fewest amount of points allowed in the paint. I just hope that they can kind of keep up with that. The injuries on the Rockets side of things too, there are a bunch to note. I should have probably mentioned that earlier. Barrett, Ingram, Pirtle, PJ Tucker. So their starting lineup is Quickly, Grady Dick, Agbaji, Scotty Barnes, and Mogbo. So, you know what I mean? Like, even them. I talk about Fred VanVleet being injured. The Raptors are damn injured, too. So I do think this is a Rockets spot. I just don't know if I love the 9.5, right? That's what it's going to come down to. The Rockets should be able to score in the paint against the Raptors. They're not the best interior defense. In fact, they're not the best defense overall. They've just been playing phenomenal defense or had been playing phenomenal defense. So, screw it. If the interior is going to be won by Houston, I think that they have better playmakers as well. I'll lean towards Houston, but I don't think I get there with the 9.5. I'll be completely honest. In terms of what I'm looking at from a total, I don't mind an under, but maybe it's a pivot to a Raptors team total under. I think that may be a little bit more conservative, a little bit more safe, I guess. So right now on the road to Raptors obviously stink, right? But Raptors team total under, we can go under under 109.5. Just don't get to 110, and I think we're looking okay. Last time they played this Houston team was back this season, and they scored 110, but that was in Toronto. Toronto on the road this season, in terms of what they're averaging just 110 points, but they've hit the under 50% of games. Like, there's so many of these that are like very, very slim, right? So I don't think that they blow this one away. They are on 1 day's rest, which kind of bodes poorly for us. They seem to average a little bit more there, but nonetheless, as of late, they've been scoring less points. Like, they were on that streak. I just don't believe they'll be on that streak anymore. So Toronto team total under. Player prop. Kind of gone back and forth in this one. I don't mind the idea of Alpi Sengun. Obviously, Thompson's getting a lot of usage with no Van Vliet in the lineup, so that's something to note. But Alpi Sengun kind of matches up fairly well, I would say, against what we're going to see this Toronto team struggling, right? And right now his line is at, let me get an updated line just so we have the updated numbers. Right now his line is at, yeah, it's right where I saw it, 21.5. He had 30 last time out. He had 17 against Toronto in that game we talked about when they played earlier this year. He shot 50% from the field, shot 14 times. This season, he's shooting 50%, but he's shooting the ball about 16 times per game. In his last 10 games here, especially without Van Vliet, he's averaging over, 15 shots per game as well. So I think that with him and a little bit more volume, we should see, some success. In fact, if I were to create a situation in which, let's see, we'll build this out right now, and I'll give you the number. He is going to shoot the ball, let's say, 16 times. And I don't know the answer to this, so this could blow up in our face. But when we get him shooting the ball 16 times, which is kind of what I'm aiming for tonight, to this line, yeah, he's been over it. Good, it worked out. 72.7% times, 16 of his last 22 games. So I want him to be shooting the ball a lot tonight. And I think that they'll be able to go down low to him via, based on how bad this Raptors defense is down low. So that's what I'll go with in terms of player prop, guys. But that's going to wrap it up for the quick NBA show today. Appreciate you for tuning in. Obviously, it is going to be a football day, but you know what? The grind don't stop. Still wanted to get the NBA video out. And honestly, we might have 2 or 3 plays in this one, right? It's a small slate. We'll probably end up going quarter, half units because, again, the units will be deployed in the NFL. That's for sure. But today, might as well get some NBA action out as well because, we love it, right? But that's going to wrap it up, guys. Go ahead and comment 16 if you made it this far into the video, and we'll catch you guys in the next one, right? Peace out.